This is the O Review podcast. O Review.
All right, welcome to episode number 10. We made it. All right, well, I won't start doing that early, but basically I'm going to go out of order because I have sort of an exciting development in the collection. And unlike the previous models where I just went chronologically, I'm going to skip ahead and go with a piece that I just got, or rather just traded, to complete a collection. For a while now, I've been trying to collect like entire series of certain models. So I started with the Splice, did that, did Fat Cat, did the Moon, did Sub-Zeros, I don't know, maybe a couple other things. But one thing I started doing is the M-Frame Slash, which is kind of a weird one to pick, which is may have been foolish if I had known better back then, because they were really hard to find. I was able to get a couple ones, and Honey Monkey on eBay had a lot, so I used, I got a couple from him. And then here and there I tracked down a few, and I realized I had quite a few of them, so I figured, I'll go for all 9. And the gold and the white were just the ones that were outstanding for a long, long time. I got this from a fellow O Review member, and then the white one was the one that was standing out the longest. I probably went about 2-3 years before I was able to get that. And if you recall, a couple weeks ago I had a video on a black clear pair, and not this one, but I had a spare one. I was able to kind of do a quick swap between someone that had a white persimmon pair, which had this lens in it, and I was able to just do a frame and lens swap with it and get my white clear pair, which I had been wanting for a long, long time. So I'm really excited to get all 9 pieces now. This is just one of the things I've been chasing for just years and years and years, and I'm really happy to finally get everything back in order and have the complete set. It kind of leaves me without a holy grail or something to chase at this point, but I'm kind of okay with that because I really don't need to be buying any more Oakleys. I hate to say it, but I think I have enough. So that's all right, though. So really at this point, what I want to do is I kind of want to go over the colorways of the ones that are offered, go over just some brief history as to what they are, as well as go over a couple generational differences that might help you if you want to pick up some of these and kind of know what you're getting into. So this is the old M-Frame box. These things, the Slashes debuted in 1995, which was well into the first generation of M-Frames. And if you notice, the classic logo was still on the M-Frame at the time. M-Frames began as Mumbos. I kind of went over that earlier, but in 1989 the Mumbo came out. It was quickly swapped in late 1990, 1991 with just the M-Frame, because there was an issue with Mambo clothing and they sounded too similar. So basically from 1990 to 1990, let's say 5 or so, they had the classic logo. Around that time, most things were changing over to the elliptical icon. The eye jacket in 1994 had it. A lot of the other jackets that came after that, like the trench coat in 95 and the straight jacket in 96, had the elliptical icon. They were still molded at the time. They didn't switch over to the metal icons until 1999. But basically, if you notice on something like this, they see the molded icon as opposed to the molded classic logo like this. So these switched over, I think around 1996. So really the classic Generation 1 M-Frames only lasted about 1 year, maybe a year and a half in the M-Frame Slash. Now, interestingly enough, there was an old catalog that had the Slash lens listed. It didn't have a picture of it yet, but it said it was coming, and that came back in like 1990, like maybe 4 or so. So they had plans for these a while before 95, but they didn't actually come out until 95. Now, as far as generations go, they follow the same generations as the traditional M-Frames. So if you take a look at my fingerprint, you'll notice that this is a Generation 1. So if you take a look there, the Oakley classic logo is there, it's imprinted. You'll also notice that the foam is a little bit thicker. Now, if you compare that to, here's another Gen 1, thick foam, Oakley logo, and then the same goes for, I believe, the crystal blue. So there we go. Now, anything else, my Gen 2s are basically going to have the standard elliptical icon and very thin foam, so you can kind of see the difference there. So if I sort of rotate this around, you'll notice that I got some thin foam compared to the much thicker foam there. You'll also notice that if you see the arm there, it's very thin. It's almost like it's the same thickness throughout. Whereas on the Gen 2, you'll notice that the hinge has strengthened area around the hinge. So basically when they converted to Generation 1 to Generation 2, they not only changed the logos around, added some different things, but they actually took time to figure out what certain flaws were in the model and then go out and fix that. So those are just kind of some things to take a look at if you're determining whether it's a Generation 1, Generation 2, other than just the obvious things like the logo itself. What we've got here is the black with clear. And as you see, this is a Gen 2. And we have the crystal clear blue with clear lens. Here I have the Planet X gray, which is basically sort of just a gray crackle pattern with just a traditional black lens. In the back here we have the fingerprint with black iridium, as well as the fingerprint with clear, the white with clear, which is the one that took me the longest to get because we have the gold mine with gold iridium lens, the carbon fiber with plus red iridium, and the cobalt with persimmon. Now the one that took me the longest to make or get was the white with clear. And what I actually had to do was find a pair of white with persimmon lens, a pair of black with clear, and then do a frame swap. So I was able to kind of do some swapping around and get that all finished up. There is all 9 colorways of the M-frame slash. I did mention this before. This is the box around the time. Later on, they moved to just like the standard black box with the picture of the M-frame on it. But this is kind of one of the original ones. Looks pretty nice. So what are these for? I mean, most M-frames were designed for sports, which is pretty much what a lot of the radars and modern ones are for now. These were kind of designed for basketball, and that's why you'll see a lot of them with the clear frame. And I had a question on my previous review as to what is the purpose of this. I think this is the one I was reviewing. What's the purpose of this? Might be good for driving at night, but it's kind of bulky. It's obviously not good during the day. Well, it was basically designed for basketball. So that way you could have your eye protection, huge eye protection at that, on the court, and basically, you're not going to have any light loss because you have a clear lens. And that's why you have something like the persimmon lens, which is really going to help you. Interesting fact is that I actually saw someone, one of the modern basketball players, he was wearing an M-frame slash recently. I'm like, is he wearing an old school one, or did he get some old stock? I looked at the frame, and he had a modern M-frame lens. And the lenses on the classic ones will fit the modern ones too, for the most part. So he had an old persimmon lens hanging around and a modern M-frame, and he was still wearing it. So here it is, 2011. We got people still wearing glasses from 1995 to 1998, I believe. Gen 2 came out in 96. It lasted until 98 or so, and then they switched over because in 99 they had the new M-frame, and all this stuff kind of went by the wayside. So that's kind of what that was for. It's mainly for indoor sports. So you have a lot of the lighter lenses. You have the brow foam, so when you're sweating, it doesn't get all over you. You have the vented lenses here, so any moisture that's in there can easily get out. If you know your lens, M-frame lens shapes, you'll notice this is pretty much an extended heater frame. So I believe the equivalent on the radar would be the range, rather. So it's an extended heater frame. It's elongated a bit. You got the drilled holes there that kind of let a lot of the moisture out, and basically makes it a good pair for active sports where you're sweating a lot. You're generating a lot of heat, a lot of moisture, and you want all that just to basically not hinder your performance in whatever sport you're playing. So again, I kind of just want to close. I'm really happy. I'm so glad I have all these now. major thanks to Paul over in the UK for finding these and doing a swap with me. I've had an eBay search on that for a couple of years now. Nothing has ever turned up. I asked around and immediately he's like, "Oh yeah, here's one. We'll do a quick swap." So he's really helped me out there. So I'd like to extend some thanks on that. I'd like to extend the thanks on all the people that have been searching for this over the years and helping me track down these. It's really nice to put this whole collection to bed and not have to worry about it anymore. I'm not really entirely sure what my next Holy Grail is going to be. It might be maybe a black 0.5 because I want to get all the zeros in black. And the only one I don't have is I do have a 0.5, but it's in it's in this color configuration. And I'd like to get all black ones as opposed to having just one that's in the gold configuration. But that's all right. I do see those around. Those aren't impossible to find. They're just impossible to find with someone who can give me a reasonable price for it. They all want like this enormous amount, and it's ridiculous. But I've been over that before. I won't rant too much on that. So, sorry I'm not in the frame. I just basically wanted to get you a view of everything here and make sure everything got its chance to stay in the glory. So next week I will be continuing with the normal frames. I believe I'll be continuing with the moon, like I said last week, followed by the top coat, then the Exponential 20 again. And that's pretty much it. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you found it informative. If you do have any questions, please let me know. So as always, thank you and take care.